Black Waitress utters dark warning to Billionaire, don't sign that. Then the shocking twist. In the swanky heart of Manhattan, a turbulent night teetered on the edge of chaos. Neon lights flickered like desperate warning signs, casting twisted shadows over a crowd buzzing with wealth and ambition. The hottest restaurant in the city was alive with the clink of glasses and laughter, but something darker slithered through the air, an unsettling tension too thick for mere good fortune. That's when everything changed, unraveling a moment that would echo for eternity. A strikingly beautiful waitress named Jasmine moved among the tables with a grace that seemed almost otherworldly. Her eyes sparkled like midnight stars, concealing something deep and unsettling. Tonight, her smile felt forced, each return glance flickering with urgency, as if she bore the weight of a silent scream. And there he was, a billionaire, Adam Coates, the glare of ambition burning in his blue eyes, unaware of the storm brewing around him. As he signed a stack of papers that could shape his destiny, Jasmine stopped dead in her tracks. Her breath hitched. The world around them dimmed even more, as if reality leaned in close to hear her words. "Don't sign that," she whispered, her voice cracking like ice underfoot. A collective shudder rippled through the dining room. Eyes widened, murmurs surged. What did she know that they did not? That moment shattered the illusion of normalcy, casting a pall over the laughter. People leaned closer, curious but unsettled, wondering where this shadow of dread stemmed from. Adam froze, confusion knitting his brow. "What do you mean?" he replied, his voice a tight squeak amidst an ocean of disbelief. "Trust me, it's not what it seems." Her gaze darted between the pages and his face, a storm of concern brewing behind her dark, knowing eyes. The air charged with unspoken threats like electricity before a lightning strike. Every soul in the restaurant felt it. It was as if the universe held its breath, waiting for a bolt of truth to shatter the dense gloom hanging over them all. People shifted in their seats, their gazes locked onto this extraordinary moment, the tension spiraling upward. "Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect." As Jasmine stood there, a silhouette of anxiety amongst the shiny chaos, Adam's trust began to waver. Was this a trick? The other diners whispered. An older gentleman clutched his glass, his expression a mix of shock and fascination. Why was she being so reckless? The confidence that had once enveloped Adam folded in on itself, disintegrating under the weight of her raw fear. Shadows grew deeper, threatening to consume them both, and just when it seemed the world might implode under such heavy conviction, Jasmine's phone lit up, vibrating violently against the wood of her tray. The distraction broke the spell, and all eyes flicked toward the furious light. In that instant, Jasmine grew paler, her pulse racing as she reached for it, but a chilling realization settled in. What if it was too late? The walls seemed to close in. Adam hesitated, teetering on the brink of a decision that could doom him or liberate him. He glanced back at the waitress. Her urgency was palpable, a silent plea woven into the fabric of her being. Could he trust her? Or had he just stumbled onto a path riddled with shadows? As the noise swelled and blurred around them, something ominous crackled in the air. The night wasn't just somber, it was alive with dire possibilities. Would he heed her warning, or would he plunge into the darkness? The question hung there, tantalizing and terrifying, like a coiled snake ready to strike. What would happen next? Only time would unfold the truth hiding in the shadows. Jasmine's heart raced as she snatched her phone, the screen illuminating her face with a harsh glow. The message flickered like a ghost, bringing an instant chill to the pit of her stomach. "I know what you did. It's time to pay." Her thoughts spiraled, fear clawing at her resolve. She had been careful, so careful, keeping the past buried, but this was a threat that clawed at her very existence. What if Adam signed before she could warn him properly? The stakes were too high. The room pulsed with a new undercurrent, shifting from curiosity to dread. Adam, still frozen in uncertainty, lifted his gaze. "What was that?" he asked, pointing toward her phone as if it held the answers he desperately sought. Jasmine could feel every eye weighing on her, every heartbeat echoing in her ears. "It's nothing. Just an old friend," she lied, forcing a smile that felt more like a mask than a comfort. "Old friend, huh?" he shot back, skepticism creeping into his tone. The waiter nearby adjusted his tie nervously, while a nearby couple leaned in closer, unwilling to miss the unfolding drama. The tension in the air thickened, wrapping tightly around them like a noose. Jazz took a step forward, her expression serious. "Adam, please. You have to listen to me. That contract, it's not what it seems. This isn't just some business deal." The murmurs intensified, viewers caught in the web of worry and suspicion. Jasmine felt like a deer in the headlights, suffocated by the weight of many glances piercing at her vulnerable core. She took a deep breath, gathering her thoughts. "I can explain everything, but not here, not now." "What do I have to do?" he asked, the resolve in his voice softening. That flicker of trust ignited something inside her. Maybe they could navigate this and come out alive, but danger lurked like a specter just beyond their vision. But footsteps approached. Two figures emerged from the shadows, their intentions unreadable. One was an imposing man, dressed impeccably in a tailored suit that seemed to swallow the dim light whole. The other was a woman, her face hidden behind dark glasses, her confidence radiating as she swept into the room. The murmurs quieted to awkward silence, tension hanging heavier than before. Adam's posture stiffened. He recognized them, the last people he wanted to see under these circumstances. Jasmine's eyes darted between them, panic flaring within her as she sensed the change in energy. "Mr. Coates," the man barked in a voice that was both suave and menacing, "I believe we have unfinished business to attend to." The crowd leaned in closer, breath held, like they were watching a car crash in slow motion. "Stay away from him," Jasmine shouted, flinging her tray down, her voice trembling with a mix of courage and fear. The thud echoed sharply in the hushed space, drawing attention back to her. Adam glanced at Jasmine, then at the new arrivals. A storm brewed in his blue eyes. "Who the hell are you?" he asked, defiant, but uncertainty laced his words. "Your future if you choose poorly," the woman replied, her tone smooth yet dripping with menace. Jasmine felt the walls closing in as the gravity of the situation crashed around her. What had she stepped into? What lay behind this ominous wall of mystery? Suddenly, the lights flickered again, and the hushed crowd gasped as the chandelier above them trembled ominously. A glass shattered nearby, sending fragments onto the floor in a deadly rain. Was this just the beginning? Adam's eyes, once resolute, were clouded with confusion and fear. The stakes had never been higher. What secrets were waiting to unfold in the darkness? As the shadows danced hungrily, the question loomed large: who would survive this night? The tension hung thick in the air, a living thing wrapping its talons around Jasmine and Adam as the crowd gasped, eyes flicking between the newcomers and the wreckage of shattered glass. Time seemed to crawl, every heartbeat echoing the impending disaster looming over them. Jasmine moved closer to Adam, her muscles tensed, ready for whatever lay ahead. "Can you just give us a moment?" Adam's voice trembled, a fragile barrier against the storm threatening to sweep over them. The couples, once engrossed in their meals, all shifted nervously, an undercurrent of whispered speculation rippling through the room. "Moments are a luxury you don't have, Mr. Coates," the man said, taking a confident step forward, exuding an unsettling charm intertwined with menace. The woman beside him adjusted her dark glasses, the flicker of intimidation barely concealed behind them. Something flickered in the man's eyes, a calculation, a predatory instinct. "You're about to make a decision that could change everything. We just want to help you see the light." Jasmine felt Adam's tension grip at her more tightly than the last breath she'd taken. She whispered, urgency coursing through her voice, "He's lying, Adam." The contract. But before she could finish, the man interrupted, a sly smile spreading across his face. "Ah, you've brought the ghost of your past with you, haven't you?" He turned to the crowd, his eyes glinting with the thrill of an audience. "What a show! Let it unfold, shall we?" An uncomfortable murmur rose from the witnesses as Jasmine swallowed hard, her throat a tight knot. How did they know? She exhaled, a silent plea forming behind her lips as she held angry copper waves of her hair back. The reminder of past mistakes stung, swirling in the pit of her stomach like poison. "Just what do you think you know?" Adam cut in, the fire behind his indignation battling the chill creeping into his bones. "Everything," the woman purred, her voice smooth and mesmerizing. "But dear Adam, it's you who needs to choose wisely." As the chill in Jasmine's heart deepened, a sudden flash of movement caught her eye. The diner's door swung open unceremoniously, letting in a frigid gust that set her instincts ablaze. A figure cloaked in shadow slipped inside, their presence drawing a collective gasp. Jasmine's gut foreshadowed trouble. In a flash of anger, she pointed, "Watch out." But the words thundered in her mind, like a bell tolling for them all. The newcomer stepped forward, shaking off water as they removed a hood. Jasmine's breath caught in her throat. It was her brother, Mike, a terrifying specter from the past that she thought lost among the shadows. His face was drawn, eyes wild with desperation. Adam. You have to listen. They're coming for you." He shouted, glancing at the men with horror. "What did you bring him here for?" The man snarled, eyes narrowing dangerously. The crowd felt the collective shock, shifting as an unseen tension hung in the balance. "Get out!" Jasmine screamed, heart racing, her hands trembling all over again as a new wave of panic surged. "Not until we reach an agreement," the man said, a smirk growing on his face. "You wouldn't want something unfortunate to happen now, would you?" Jasmine's past crashed into the present like a freight train. Adam turned toward her, fear and confusion swirling in his eyes. "What's happening?" "I didn't know they defined me," she whispered, desperation clawing at her voice. A dark memory clawed at her edges, threatening to unravel everything she'd worked for. And just then, another crash echoed, reverberating through the diner. "What now?" Adam asked, panic straining his voice. "Stay close," Jasmine urged, glancing over her shoulder, dread pooling as she sensed a darker chapter waiting to be opened. Was this all her fault? The question pounded at her like a hammer, but the truth loomed just out of reach. Darkness promised to find them. And she could sense it. As the world spiraled around her with chaos closing in, one truth echoed louder than all others: who was going to pay the ultimate price? And just like that, the lights flickered again, the kind of flicker that felt like the final countdown. What kind of fate awaited them all? The lights flickered once more, casting shadows that danced ominously on the walls. Jasmine's heart raced, a drumbeat of fear lining every gasp of breath. The room oscillated between light and dark, echoing the turmoil swirling inside her. Had this been coming all along? At that moment, she saw not just Adam and Mike, but a frantic urgency in the eyes of their audience, curious, fearful, hungry for more of this spectacle. "Mike, what do you mean they're coming for us?" Jasmine's voice was shaky, desperate for answers that felt out of reach. She felt the weight of Adam's hand gripping her arm, his continued presence a fragile lifeline amidst the tumult. Mike took a step forward, his brow glistening with beads of sweat that mirrored the urgency in his expression. "I overheard them at the docks, Jazz. They're here for you. You can't let them get what they want. They want the contracts." The room gasped collectively, and Jasmine's mind whirled. The contract. The heart of her past that had sent ripples of destruction coursing through her life. Suddenly, the man's predatory smirk made sense. You thought it was buried, didn't you? Just stay calm, Adam urged, his tone steady despite the chaos surrounding them. Whatever they want, we want to give it to them. Easy for you to say, Jasmine snapped, feeling a burgeoning mix of anger and fear. You don't have my past clawing at your back. Before Adam could respond, a booming crash erupted from the kitchen, the sound of metal slamming against the floor. The door swung open, revealing a pair of kitchen staff, eyes wide with confusion as they took in the tableau before them. Get out! Mike shouted, waving them off like leaves caught in a storm. The pressure was suffocating, and Jasmine's resolve began to splinter. Enough games! The woman interjected, tossing her glasses aside, revealing a gaze that seemed to strip away all pretenses. You don't get to control this situation. Maybe I don't, Jasmine admitted, heart racing as realization pierced her like a shard of glass. But I won't give in to fear either. The crowd started to murmur, a mixture of bewilderment and a rising voice of challenge. It felt bizarrely comforting, knowing they weren't alone, but it was a flimsy shield against the two figures before them. You think you're brave? The man sneered, taking a step closer, eyes glinting perilously as his focus shifted from Jasmine to the crowd. Let us see how brave a woman is when all her choices are stripped away. In that moment, it struck Jasmine. The stakes were clearer than ever. The contract, their lives intertwined in a web of dark intentions, it all made her stomach churn. They wanted her, but at what cost? Enough. She raised her voice, fighting to reclaim her power. I'll expose whatever it is you're hiding. Another tremor of shock rippled through the crowd, but the man smiled, a wicked grin spreading across his face. We're counting on it. A sharp intake of breath and the air thickened again, the crowd's tension heightened, coiling tighter. They were all entwined now, spectators and participants wrapped in a dark tale unfolding right under the fluorescent lights. The question licked at the back of Jasmine's throat: was she truly ready to unearth what lay beneath her choices? Then, just as the shadows stretched, a siren wailed outside, blaring urgency wrapping around their hearts like catching flames. Jasmine glanced at Adam, panic blooming anew in her chest. We need to move. But as they turned, the door swung wide open, revealing a squad of men in suits, faces obscured by the glare behind them. Order had arrived, but whose order? Game up, Mike said, voice barely above a whisper, eyes darting from one figure to another as they stepped inside. Jasmine's pulse raced as she recognized the looming change. The fate that awaited them twisted into something far more dangerous than she could have ever imagined. And in that inescapable moment, she knew the fight was just beginning. Could they escape the grip of the shadows, or was it too late for redemption? The air crackled with tension as the suited men stepped forward, their presence overwhelming the small space. Jasmine's heart pounded fiercely against her ribcage, each beat a reminder of how precariously close they were to danger. The crowd shrank back, eyes wide, while Mike instinctively moved to shield Jasmine, utilitarian instincts kicking in. Who are you? Adam demanded, trying to project bravado despite the fear layering his words. His protective nature flared like a beacon, but Jasmine could sense it. His resolve trembled like the flickering lights overhead. Special agents, one of the men replied, his voice gravelly and unyielding. We're here to speak with Jasmine. Step aside, please. He gestured sharply with his chin, eyes scanning her as if she were a suspect. Jasmine felt a chill seep into her bones. Why do you want me? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. That same question consumed her thoughts, and the crowd leaned in, breath held in anticipation. The man smirked, a cruel twist to his lips. Let us just say you've got something we need. The contracts you thought you buried, they hold much more power than you realize. The room fell silent, the weight of his words crushing. Jasmine felt a swell of despair and anger. I don't know what you're talking about. Liar. His tone hardened, in contrast to the pitiful atmosphere. You're in deeper than you think, Jasmine. The lives tied to those contracts? They're on the line unless you cooperate. Jasmine clenched her hands into fists. This was about her past repugnant, shrouded in secrets that threatened to engulf her once more. But she wouldn't show weakness. I'll never cooperate with you. Never? He scoffed, glancing at his colleague who nodded. You say that now, but you will soon realize your options are limited. Jasmine. Adam's voice cut through, urgent as he stepped in front of her. We can't let them intimidate you. We need a plan. His eyes flickered, searching the room for an escape, but it wasn't just fear that crossed his face, there was determination too, a spark igniting amidst the encroaching darkness. The agents surged forward, their movements swift, all in sync like a well-rehearsed performance. Jasmine felt her lungs constrict. It was too late to back down, they were entrenched in something so much larger than themselves. You're out of your league, Mike shouted, broader and bolder than Jasmine had seen him. You think you can walk in here and threaten us? We're not afraid of you. Maybe you should be, came the reply, heavy with promise. We'll give you one last chance to hand over the contracts willingly. The tension in the room swelled, pulling taut like the strings of a bowstring poised to snap. Jasmine's mind raced, frantically balancing her next move. The audience now stood as a collective witness, standing at the edge of this chaotic abyss. Stop! Jasmine shouted suddenly, her voice slicing through the revving panic. She felt their eyes on her, 100 thoughts swirling. You want the contracts? Let me show you what they can do. Are you serious? Adam looked incredulous, but the spark in Jasmine's eyes assured him she had a plan however wild it was. She wasn't going down without a fight. The agent raised an eyebrow, intrigued as he studied her. Well, this is unexpected. Just give me a moment, she said, feeling the corners of her mouth twitch upward. She stepped forward, her voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. Let us talk beneath the fluorescent flicker of trust, or should I say betrayal? The agents exchanged glances, each weighing the gravity of what she'd just implied. The tension skidded underfoot, a beating heart of seconds left before the storm hit. Would they take the bait? Would trust turn to treachery in an instant? In that critical moment, Jasmine realized one undeniable truth: the line between hunter and prey blurred in this game. She was ready to fight, but at what cost? As she prepared for the consequences of her choice, the sirens outside faded, but the chaos inside was just beginning to roar. She inhaled deeply, eyes wide with determination. Where did it lead, this spinning dance of power? What lay at the end of this reckless gamble? The silence hung heavy as the agents considered Jasmine's unexpected challenge. Seconds stretched like taut rubber bands, ready to snap, and she could almost hear her heart thundering in her ears. The crowd, still, seemed to breathe as one, a living entity, waiting to see which direction this turmoil would take. Talk, then. The lead agent replied, his voice gruff. He crossed his arms, his eyes narrowing into slits. But understand this, deception won't spare you from consequences. With contracts like these, it's easier to burn bridges than to build them, Jasmine began, her heart racing as she absorbed the weight of their gaze. The power isn't just in what's written, it's in who it binds. You think you're clever, he shot back, a smirk unfurling on his lips. Jasmine pressed on, ignoring the taunts. They were designed to protect people, to keep them safe from forces like you. The agent tilted his head, eyes gleaming with curiosity. And do you believe they still hold that power? More than you know, she said, each word heavy with conviction, despite the cold sweat forming at her temples. If you follow me, if we talk away from this spectacle, you'll see. A ripple of murmurs spread through the crowd as they weighed her words. Adam stepped closer to her, urgency flickering across his features. Jasmine, what are you doing? I need them to understand, she whispered back sharply. Not just for me, but for everyone involved. I can't let them take this. A tense silence enveloped the room. The agents exchanged glances once more, the weight of Jasmine's proposition thick in the air. "Fine." The agent finally replied, his composure faltering for the first time. "We'll consider what you're suggesting." In the back room. Alone. Her stomach dropped, but there was no turning back now. "No. My friends come with me. If you want the contracts, you need to meet me with backup." Interesting negotiation tactic, the agent scoffed, but she sensed his reluctance. "It's risky for you. This isn't a negotiation." "This is a warning," Jasmine shot back, her voice dropping to an intense whisper filled with defiance. "You don't know what you're really engaging with. You need to ask yourselves if you're prepared for the consequences when the truth claws its way out." Suddenly, an unexpected sound sliced through the air, a loud crash from outside. The crowd gasped as everyone turned, confusion and fear morphing the atmosphere into mayhem. Jasmine's pulse quickened. What was that? Before anyone could respond, the room plunged into chaos. People shouted, their voices rising in confusion. The agent's composed demeanor shattered as they turned, their attention distracted. Jasmine seized the moment, realization striking her like lightning. "Now! We need to go." She grabbed Adam's arm and yanked him toward the exit. Mike followed, but the tension clawed at her back like a predatory shadow. The agents quickly regained their bearings, their eyes blazing with fury and hunger. "Stop them!" one shouted, but Jasmine's instincts screamed not to look back. As they raced through the crowd, the outside world loomed like a storm. Sirens blared, blending into the fray like an unholy symphony. "Where do we go?" Adam yelled, panting heavily. "The warehouse. It's south, the only place we can regroup and figure this out," Mike replied, flushed with urgency, but as they darted between bodies, skirting around the shroud of panic, the oppressive dread loomed closer. They were being hunted, and time was slipping through their fingers like grains of sand. With a sudden jolt, Jasmine turned as a flash of figments caught her eye, the agent's words ringing in her ears. "You're in deeper than you think. What secrets lay hidden in the shadows waiting to be unleashed? And could they escape the reckoning that was sure to come?" The chaos spiraled around them as Jasmine, Adam, and Mike pushed forward. Footsteps thundered behind them, like the drumroll before a judge's verdict. Each heartbeat surged with anxiety, the thrum of adrenaline drowned out all else. "Keep running!" Jasmine shouted, her voice slicing through the clamoring panic. The warehouse loomed ahead, a gray fortress of hope. She couldn't shake the cold grip of dread clenching her gut. The agent's fury was a looming shadow, threatening to swallow them whole. As they approached, Mike glanced back, his face pale and smeared with fear. "They're gaining. Don't look back," she barked, forcing her legs to move faster. The metal door of the warehouse swung open with a deafening screech. They stumbled inside, the air thick and stale, burdened with the stench of rust and neglect. Jasmine slammed the door shut, panting heavily as she leaned against it, feeling the vibrations of frantic bangs echoing from the other side. "What now?" Adam's voice shook, together with his trembling hands. "Find a place to hide," she urged, scanning their surroundings. Tall shelves lined with dusty boxes rose like sentinels, casting long shadows under the fluorescent lights flickering above. Adrenaline coursed through her, fueling her determination. They ducked behind a stack of boxes, barely squeezing in. Jasmine could feel the tension in the air like static before a storm. She held her breath, straining to hear. The loud, authoritative voices of the agents echoed outside, merging with the irregular pings of emergency alarms. "What do we do?" Mike whispered, his voice breaking. "We wait and listen," Jasmine answered, her heart racing. "They'll be back. Maybe we can turn this around if we gather our thoughts." But even as she spoke, doubt gnawed at her. What if they found them? What if she couldn't convince the agents of the truth she claimed to know? Each second stretched unbearably, heavy with dread. Suddenly, the warehouse door creaked open. The thud of boots echoed through the cavernous room, followed by whispers that set Jasmine's nerves on edge. "They have to be in here somewhere." Tension peaked as her breath hitched. She could hear Adam's shallow gasps next to her. Shadows danced under the shelves, the faint footsteps drawing nearer. They had to make a choice. "Should we find another way out?" Adam whispered, eyes wide. "No," she replied, firming her resolve despite shaking hands. "We have to face them. The contracts, they need to know the real price of signing away their lives." Just then, the sound of crunching footsteps reverberated through the space, stopping right in front of their hiding spot. Jasmine held her breath, inching away from the edge of the box, straining her ears to listen. "You think she knows?" one agent told another, their voice laced with suspicion and something darker. "I don't care if she does. Take her out. She's a liability." A lump formed in Jasmine's throat. That was a death sentence hanging in the air between them. Taking a deep breath, she steeled herself, eyes darting to Adam and Mike. They needed a plan, and fast. In that gut-wrenching moment, the clatter of boxes shifted. Someone was coming. Now! Jasmine screamed, launching herself out from behind the boxes, her heart pounding like a war drum. The warehouse erupted into chaos as she emerged into the open, fists clenched and blood rushing in her ears. "What do you know about the contracts?" one agent shouted, eyes narrowed with rage. Jasmine could barely form a response, but the truth sparked a fire within her. Suddenly, a loud crash rocked the warehouse, and the front wall splintered, sending dust and debris flying. A truck barreled through, lights blaring like a beacon in the darkness. Jasmine's heart sank and soared all at once. Who was it? "Get to the truck!" A shadowy figure shouted from within, their voice urgent. In that split second, the agents hesitated, a critical mistake. "Go!" she yelled, pushing Adam and Mike forward, darting into the light. Just then, reality hit her hard. In this dance with shadows, they were hitting a point of no return. But as they rushed toward the truck, an eerie sense of foreboding settled in her chest. What would they really be walking into? And in the terrifying moments that followed, Jasmine would learn that the truth was the fiercest weapon of all. The truck's engine roared like a beast unleashed, drowning out the shouts of the agents scrambling behind them. Jasmine bolted forward, pulling Adam and Mike along. The warehouse that had been their refuge a moment ago transformed into a battleground of uncertainty. "Get in! Get in!" the figure in the truck shouted, his face obscured by the bright headlights. They didn't need to be told twice. Jasmine leaped into the passenger seat, Adam and Mike sliding in right behind her, slamming the door shut as if it could shield them from looming danger. In an instant, the truck lurched forward, tires screeching as they tore out of the derelict structure. Jasmine looked back at the warehouse, shadows of agents flitting through the dust. A shiver ran down her spine. They had escaped, for now. "Who are you?" she gasped, turning to the figure behind the wheel. The man was rugged, a scruffy beard framing a hardened jaw, but his eyes sparkled with a strange mix of resolve and fear. "Names don't matter right now. Just know that I'm here to help." "We have to keep moving," he said, glancing in the rearview mirror as if the agents might materialize from thin air. "What about the contracts?" Adam burst out, his voice thick with anxiety. "The contracts are the least of your worries at the moment," the man grimaced, his knuckles white against the wheel. "You have no idea how deep this goes." Jasmine's heart raced. An unsettling truth hung in the air. "You don't understand, we need to tell people the truth." "Truth?" he scoffed, then steadied his gaze on the road. "You think truth will matter when you're hunted down like animals? It's bigger than you think." "Bigger?" Mike interjected, confusion reigning in his eyes. "What do you mean?" The man exhaled deeply and shifted his focus. "Let us just say, the people behind those contracts are in the business of erasing anyone who stands in their way. And you three, he paused, searching for the right words, you've become their biggest problem. Panic crept back in like a cold breeze. Jasmine exchanged looks with Adam and Mike. The seeds of fear they had planted in their minds had now grown into a monstrous truth. Why did you come for us? Mike stuttered, disbelief written all over his face. Because you're not just random kids. You've got the information the world needs to hear. We can expose everything they know it, and now so do you. Jasmine's pulse quickened. The truth would spark a revolution. But what would happen before that truth could reach the light? What do we do? The man smirked slightly, but it was laced with tension. First, we need to make a stop. There's a safe house where we can regroup, but it won't be simple. If they're hot on our trail, we need to use every second wisely. Suddenly, a loud crash erupted from behind them. Jasmine turned to see a vehicle speeding after them, its headlights piercing through the night. An unmistakable black logo draped across the side sent icy panic through her veins. Agents were closing in. Hold on. The driver shouted, veering sharply into an alleyway. The tires protested against the asphalt, sending them squealing into darkness. Jasmine could feel the adrenaline pumping through every fiber of her being. We might not make it. Adam shouted, fists clenching the seat. Then we make them regret it, Jasmine said fiercely. The fire in her heart was ignited by purpose. As they raced through the twisting alley, the truck slammed around corners, her world whirling. But just as hope surged, Jasmine glimpsed something looming ahead: fences, barricades, a dead end. A lump formed in her throat. We're running out of road. The man's brows knitted tight. We need to come up with a new plan fast. Before she could respond, the truck skidded to a halt, tires throwing gravel. Get out. Now. He yelled, scrambling to the back. Jasmine's chest tightened. What did he have in mind? Escape meant facing more. They had come too far to turn back. As they piled out, the agent's vehicle screeched around the corner, lights glaring. Jasmine could feel the weight of the impact. This was it. What would they confront now? A fate worse than they imagined loomed closer. As the first agent steps down, one question echoed in Jasmine's mind: was this the end, or the beginning of a fight they never saw coming? Jasmine hit the ground hard, the chill of asphalt biting at her skin. Adam and Mike stumbled out after her, adrenaline churning in their veins. The agent's boots echoed ominously as he stepped from the shadows of their vehicle, his silhouette sharp in the streetlight. Stay close. The man in the truck ordered, motioning them to duck behind a cluster of dumpsters. Jasmine's heart thudded against her ribcage, a frantic drumbeat amid the chaos. Why would we trust you? Adam whispered, glancing between the man and the approaching agents. You're just as much a question mark as they are. Before the man could respond, the agents spread out, a predator's instinct evident in their movements. The first agent, a tall figure with a serious demeanor, scanned the street, his gaze piercing through shadows. Jasmine held her breath, every sense on high alert, every instinct screaming to flee. Time to scatter, the man urged. We can't fight them here. Follow my lead. But where could they go? Jasmine's mind raced, each passing second felt like eternity. We don't even know where you're taking us. She hissed, desperation threatening to unravel her composure. Just trust me. He urged, his face a mask of determination. Suddenly, a shrill whistle cut through the night, amplified by the silence of the street. The agents shared quick, knowing glances, their focus sharpened. They began advancing, closing in mercilessly. Come out, wherever you are, one called, his voice dripping with menace. The man turned and pulled a flimsy-looking backpack from the truck. This will help us, he said, fumbling through its contents before producing a small device. Flashbang. I'll create a distraction. When I do, make a run for that alley to the left. Jasmine nodded, ready to sprint, but doubt clawed at her heart. And if it doesn't work? There's no if. It has to work. He snapped, suddenly intense. Trust me. Now go. In that moment, adrenaline surged, and Jasmine felt the weight of urgency like a vice around her chest. She watched as he activated the device, a countdown ticking away in the dim light. 10, 9. Get ready. The command carved through her nerves. Time slowed. Jasmine stole a glance at Adam and Mike. Tension danced on Adam's face, uncertainty mingled with fear. Mike's eyes mirrored her own, filled with questions, but there was no time to voice them. 3, 2. Enter the agents with their professional poise, closing the distance, and Jasmine's pulse raced all the way to her throat as she edged closer to the designated escape route. Go! The man shouted, and with that, he hurled the flashbang into the air. A deafening explosion followed, blinding light flooding the alley as the world erupted into chaos. Jasmine seized the moment and bolted, her legs propelling her forward like they'd never done before. Run! She screamed, urging Adam and Mike to follow. They sprinted into the alley, adrenaline fueling their every step, but Jasmine risked a glance back. The thriving chaos of the street echoed with panic as agents covered their eyes, scrambling to regain their composure. But their moment of escape was slipping away. The alley branched out in multiple directions, and Jasmine felt the pressure of choice pressing down like a heavy weight. To the left looked dark and narrow, the right wider but ominous with shadows. Which way? She panted. Which way? Adam began, but his voice faltered, and panic was setting in that breathe and forget moment. Something shifted behind them. The urgent pounding of boots grew louder, echoing with intent. Jasmine's gut tightened. She had to make a choice. Left. She yelled, yanking at their arms, propelling them to the narrow passageway. Shadows loomed like specters hungry for their failure. As they continued dashing through the murky darkness, Jasmine's mind spun with questions, but also, an inkling of determination coursed through her veins. Could they really expose the truth if they survived? Were they ready to face what lurked at the end of this chaos? They dashed into an isolated courtyard, shattered by concrete and strewn with rubble. Only one question lingered: was their fight just beginning, or was every choice they made leading them closer to a fate of perdition? In that moment, the haunting riddle hung in the air, as what lay ahead blurred into uncertainty. What was waiting for them on the other side of darkness? The courtyard felt like a forgotten realm, cloaked in the shadows of abandonment. Jasmine, Adam, and Mike barely slowed their pace, hearts pounding wildly, adrenaline pulsing with every frantic step. Time was running short, and as their breaths came in ragged gasps, the sound of pursuing footsteps resonated ominously behind them. Where do we go now? Mike shouted, panic lacing his voice. The looming shadows seemed to pulse like a living thing, entrapping them in this desolate place. We need to climb. Jasmine shouted back, desperation sparking her voice. To the left, a rusty fire escape beckoned like a lifeline, crisscrossing the wall with its jagged edges. Are you kidding? Adam's eyes widened as he glanced at the perilous height. What if they follow us? We can't think about that. Up is our only chance. Jasmine urged, launching herself toward the iron ladder, her muscles screaming in protest as fear propelled her forward. With shared resolute gazes, Adam and Mike followed, scrambling up the rungs, the clang of metal reverberating against the night. They reached the rooftop just as a chorus of shouts filled the courtyard below, echoing against the remnants of a world that had once thrived here. Where do we go from here? Mike panted, scanning their surroundings from above. He lowered himself to the ground, glancing at Jasmine, his expression torn between hope and fear. Over there. Jasmine pointed to a narrow gap between two buildings creating a bridge into the adjacent rooftop. We keep moving. We can find shelter until we figure out our next step. Let us go. All of us. Adam insisted, grabbing hold of Jasmine's arm, his grip a mixture of trust and urgency. They navigated the perilous edge, but every moment was charged with suffocating anxiety, as if the air itself was watching them. Once safely on the other side, they collapsed against a chimney, panting. The brutal reality of their situation washed over them like a wave of ice. Why did we get caught up in this? Adam murmured, the fight visibly draining from his posture. I just wanted to escape my past. We all did, Jasmine replied, giving him a gentle nudge with the shoulder to snap him out of despair. But we can't back down now. We have to confront it head-on even if it's terrifying. Before Adam could respond, a crackle of voices below caught their attention. The agents were here, their authoritative commands slicing through the stillness of the night. Panic simmered anew in Jasmine's chest. They would soon realize they had ventured into the rooftops, giving them access to escape routes or worse cornering them until there was nowhere left to go. We have to find a way to get the truth out there, Jasmine urged, eyes wide with intensity. The contracts they hold secrets that can change everything. What if we confront them? Mike suggested, voice steadier despite the tremors of fear. Turn the tables. We have to expose them publicly. Expose them? Adam raised an eyebrow. How? They have the power, the resources. Maybe we can do it through social media, Jasmine said, igniting an idea in her mind. There are news outlets that would jump at the chance to broadcast this if we can reach them. Bold move, Adam said, admiration creeping into his tone. But we can't just throw ourselves to the wolves. Not throwing ourselves, positioning ourselves. Jasmine replied, fire igniting within her. If we can just get a live stream going, show the world what is happening, they'll have no choice but to expose it. True, Adam nodded, anticipation surging through his veins. But first, we need to get to the ground and find a signal. Before they could further plan, a sudden commotion erupted below them, amplified shouts growing closer. The agents had moved on, splitting up to search the buildings surrounding their escape route. It wouldn't be long before someone stumbled upon them. Now or never, Jasmine breathed, adrenaline kicking in once more. She pointed away from the edges and toward a staircase leading downward. Let us see what's waiting for us. With a shared nod, they hesitated only for a heartbeat before descending into unknown depths slowly, holding their breaths as they slipped into a dim corridor. Shadows danced along the walls, pressing down upon them like heavy cloaks as silence enveloped the air. Each creak of the old dilapidated structure echoed their fear, but also steeled their resolve. Stay aware, Jasmine whispered, gripping Adam's arm for reassurance. We can make it through this. From deep within, a flicker of hope ignited in her heart, fueling the determination that surged forward. No matter the cost, they would expose what they had unearthed. They were no longer just survivors, they were ready to become warriors against the darkness encroaching on their lives. Suddenly, a burst of light sparked from a flickering bulb above them, illuminating a concealed exit at the end of the corridor. That way! Mike shouted, hope surging in his voice. They rushed forward, unexpected strength churning in their chests. Just as they neared the exit, footsteps pounded loudly, heated voices chasing after them like hounds seeking prey. Keep moving! Adam shouted, surging forward, adrenaline propelling them like a tidal wave. They barreled through the door, tumbling into the damp, cool night air. The street was surreal and still, like a moment frozen in time, a brief respite from chaos. In that instant, they reclaimed their freedom. But the lurking reality of pursuit ignited their next steps. Time to make the world know the truth, Jasmine declared, fueled by passion and fury. They dashed down the street, the weight of what lay ahead igniting the fear that flickered in their hearts. With each breath, they vowed to share their story. Their fight for survival had only just begun. As they sprinted into the night, woven together by threads of courage and resilience, they understood that anything worth fighting for was worth chasing, too. The chase was nearing its climax, and they would not go quietly into the dark. This time, they would shine a light that no shadows could extinguish. Now it's up to you. Don't just enjoy this escape into a gripping tale. Subscribe immediately so you don't miss out on more exclusive stories. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm. We need to know your thoughts, so flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this explosive ending. And don't wait even one more second to share this adventure with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. True fans know the importance of supporting the channel. Show your love now.